Chris Plante at AM 630.
Here's the headline from the Los Angeles Times. More than 140 children may have had their hearts removed in ancient sacrifice in Peru. These skeletons belonging to two of the more than 140 children believed to have been killed in a ritual sacrifice in the 1500s. This is the LA Times. It's actually the 15th century. It's the 1400s, but they're not really sticklers for details in the news media anymore. Anthropologists have found evidence of a mass ritual killing that involved the deaths of more than 140 children, 3 adults, and at least 200 young llamas. See, now this is where liberals get upset when you hear that llamas were killed. And they were young. They were cut down in the prime of their llama lives on the northern coast of Peru. I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she likes to call Chile. I'm sure she'd call this, of course, that's the food, but she'd call this Peru. Peru, they say Peru. The archaeological site represents one of the largest known cases of mass child sacrifice ever seen in the Americas. Not counting Planned Parenthood, I assume, and the Democratic Party. Gabriel Prieto, the professor of archaeology from the National University of Trujillo, who started the excavation in 2011, said the discovery shocked him and his colleagues. The sacrificial victims ranged from the age of 6 to the age of 14, they believe, killed in a well-planned and choreographed event on a single horrific day. They didn't think it was horrific. They thought it was kind of fun. It was a good idea. I wonder if they had black tie dinners honoring the people that carried this thing out. Now, jumping around to another, and this they get into it in the LA Times piece as well. They just bury it deep in the piece. That this was all about, they believe, the researchers and the archaeologists and the scientists. They're scientists. They got National Geographic involved and everything. And the llamas, they're upset about the llamas. You know, liberals love animals, hate people. But it turns out that they believe that the children were massacred because they were having unusual weather patterns, and scientists believe that it was because of El Nino, you know, which creates unusual weather patterns. Mass sacrifice of children and llamas in ancient Peru reflects trauma over climate change. This is from Forbes magazine. Recent excavations at a 15th century archaeological site. They got that correct. The Los Angeles Times just got the century wrong. No problem. They're award-winning journalists over there. And it turns out that what scientists believe is that they were panicked about the weather. So they ripped the hearts out of the children while they were still alive to show it to them, like Chuck Norris. You know, usually Chuck Norris does this. But these ancient Peruvians did it too because they were bowing to the weather. And when I was reading this story, I couldn't help think about today's Democratic Party. And why not? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez recently was talking about the horrors of climate change. We're all going to be dead in 12 years, you know. That's all we have. Start your stopwatches. It's like a 60 Minutes episode, but it's 12 years long. Tick, tick, tick. It's Marissa Tomei's biological clock. The planet is going to die in 12 years. Here's AOC. We really shouldn't have children because the weather is getting a little funny.
And so it's basically like there's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. You know, is it okay to still have children?
Well, we shouldn't. We really shouldn't. And if we do have them, we should leave them in ditches or have ritual sacrifices to the gods of El Nino and, of course, La Nina, which is interesting that it's called El Nino because that means the baby, the child.